everyone! Welcome back to GoSpeakly English Podcast. I'm so excited you're here with us today.
Yes, welcome. This is going to be such a fun episode. I can already feel it.
I'm Sophie, and I've been teaching English for about 8 years now. And honestly, every single day I learn something new about communication.
And I'm Daniel. I'm here to ask all the questions that you guys are probably thinking. And trust me, I've had my fair share of awkward moments talking to strangers.
Oh, we all have, Daniel. We all have. And that's exactly what today's episode is about.
So today, we're diving into something that I think almost everyone struggles with at some point.
Absolutely. We're talking about how to talk to strangers without feeling awkward. You know, that uncomfortable feeling when you're standing in an elevator with someone or waiting in line at a coffee shop and you just don't know what to say.
Oh my goodness, yes. Or when you're at a party and you only know one person and that person disappears to get a drink and suddenly you're just standing there. Like, what do I do now?
Exactly. We've all been there, right? And the thing is, talking to strangers doesn't have to be this scary, nerve-wracking experience. It can actually be really enjoyable once you know a few simple tricks.
And that's what we're going to share with you today.
Before we jump in, though, if you're new here, welcome to our podcast family. We're all about making English learning natural, practical, and honestly, just fun.
And if you've been with us for a while, thank you so much for coming back. It means the world to us.
We'd absolutely love it if you could hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us reach more people who want to improve their English, just like you.
Yeah, and turn on notifications too so you never miss an episode.
All right, so let's get into this. Daniel, when was the last time you had to talk to a complete stranger?
Oh, actually, just yesterday. I was at the grocery store and I accidentally bumped into someone's cart. I mean, it was totally my fault because I was looking at my phone.
Oh no, what did you do?
Well, I immediately said sorry, obviously, but then there was this moment where we both just stood there and I didn't know if I should say something else or just walk away. It was so awkward.
See, that's such a common situation. And you know what? That moment of uncertainty is what makes talking to strangers feel so uncomfortable for most people.
Right? Like you don't want to seem rude by walking away, but you also don't want to force a conversation.
Exactly. So let's break this down into 3 main parts today. First, we'll talk about understanding why talking to strangers feels awkward in the first place. Then we'll go into practical strategies and phrases you can use. And finally, we'll cover some real-life scenarios with actual conversations you can practice.
Perfect. I'm ready to learn because I need all the help I can get.
You're not alone, trust me. Okay, so let's start with the big question. Why does talking to strangers feel so uncomfortable? Daniel, what do you think?
I think it's because you don't know anything about them. Like with your friends or family, you know what they like, what makes them laugh, what topics to avoid. But with a stranger, you're going in completely blind.
That's actually a really good point. The fear of the unknown is huge. You know, when I first started teaching, I did some research on this, and it turns out there are a few psychological reasons why we feel this way.
Oh, this is interesting. Tell me more.
Well, first of all, humans are naturally cautious around unfamiliar people. It's actually built into our survival instinct. Back in the day, not knowing someone could literally be dangerous, so our brains developed this cautiousness around strangers.
That makes sense. So it's like our brain is trying to protect us.
Exactly. But here's the thing. We're not living in caves anymore. Most strangers you meet at a coffee shop or on a bus aren't dangerous. Our modern brain knows this, but that ancient part of our brain is still being overly protective.
So it's like our brain is being a little too careful.
Yes. And there's another reason, too. We worry so much about being judged. Like, what if I say something stupid? What if they think I'm weird? What if I'm bothering them?
Oh, I definitely feel that. Sometimes I think maybe they don't want to talk to me, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they just want to be left alone.
Right? And that's such a common fear. But here's something really interesting that I learned. There was actually a study done, I think it was at the University of Chicago, where researchers asked people to talk to strangers on trains and buses.
Oh, what happened?
So before they did it, most people predicted they would feel uncomfortable and that the strangers wouldn't want to talk. But after they actually had conversations, almost everyone reported feeling happier than they expected, and the strangers were much more receptive than they thought they'd be.
No way. So people actually enjoyed it?
They did. Both sides did. The person starting the conversation and the stranger being approached both ended up feeling more positive. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. So we're basically worrying for nothing.
Pretty much. I mean, of course, there are times when people genuinely don't want to talk, and we'll discuss how to read those signals. But most of the time, people are actually open to friendly conversation.
Okay, so if most people are actually okay with being approached, why do we still feel so nervous?
Great question. I think a lot of it comes down to not knowing what to say. Like, you want to talk, but your mind just goes blank. Have you ever experienced that?
All the time. It's like I know I should say something, but I can't think of a single word. My mind is just empty.
Yeah, and that's actually the main reason people avoid talking to strangers. It's not really fear of danger or even fear of judgment. It's just not knowing how to start or what to say next.
So if we had some go-to phrases or conversation starters, it would be easier.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to give you today. But before we get to the practical stuff, there's one more thing I want to mention about why this feels awkward.
What's that?
Cultural differences. You know, depending on where you're from or where you're currently living, the norms around talking to strangers can be very different.
Oh, that's true. Like, I've heard that in some countries, people chat with strangers all the time. But in other places, it's considered kind of weird.
Exactly. For example, in many parts of the United States, small talk with strangers is pretty normal. You might chat with someone in line at the grocery store or compliment a stranger's shoes.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
But in some other cultures, like in certain parts of Europe or Asia, people tend to keep more to themselves in public spaces. It doesn't mean they're unfriendly, it's just a different cultural norm.
So what do you do if you're not sure about the cultural expectations?
Honestly, just observe. Look at what other people are doing. Are people chatting in line? Are they making eye contact and smiling? Or is everyone keeping to themselves with headphones on?
That's actually really practical advice.
And here's another thing. Even within the same country or city, different situations have different sort of unwritten rules. Like at a networking event, people expect you to introduce yourself and mingle. But on a quiet morning commute, people might prefer silence.
Right. Context matters.
It really does. And being aware of context is actually one of the keys to talking to strangers successfully. You're not just thinking about what to say, you're also thinking about when and where it's appropriate to say it.
Okay, so just to recap this first part, talking to strangers feels awkward because of our survival instincts, fear of judgment, not knowing what to say, and cultural or situational factors.
Perfect summary. And the good news is, all of these things can be managed once you understand them. You can't really change your survival instincts, but you can remind yourself that you're safe. You can work on caring less about judgment, and you can definitely learn what to say and when to say it.
I'm feeling more confident already.
Good, because now we're moving into the practical strategies and phrases you can actually use.
All right, this is the part I've been waiting for. Give me all the tips, Sophie.
Okay, let's do this. So the first strategy I want to talk about is something I call the context comment. This is probably the easiest and most natural way to start a conversation with a stranger.
Context comment. What does that mean?
It means you make a comment about something in your shared environment or situation. So instead of asking a random question out of nowhere, you talk about something you're both experiencing in that moment.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're waiting for a bus and it's really late. You could turn to the person next to you and say something like, "This bus is taking forever today, right?"
Oh, that's so simple.
It is. And the beauty of it is that you're both in the same situation. So there's an instant connection. You're not forcing a conversation about something random. You're just acknowledging your shared experience.
What are some other examples of context comments?
Okay, so imagine you're at a coffee shop and someone orders the same drink as you. You could say, "Oh, that's my favorite too." Or if you're at a bookstore and you see someone looking at a book you've read, you could say, "I read that one last month. It's really good."
These are great. They feel so natural.
They are. And here's why context comments work so well. They're low pressure. You're not asking the person a direct question that requires a long answer. You're just making an observation, and they can choose to engage or not.
So if they don't want to talk, they can just nod and that's it?
Exactly. And that's perfectly fine. Not every context comment will turn into a full conversation, and that's okay. The point is, you're opening the door without forcing anyone through it.
I like that approach. What's the next strategy?
The next one is asking for help or information. People generally like to be helpful, and asking a simple question is a really easy way to start talking to someone.
Like asking for directions?
Yes, that's a classic one. Even if you have your phone and could look it up, asking a local person for directions often leads to nice little conversations. You might say something like, "Excuse me, do you know how to get to the nearest subway station?"
And that feels pretty natural because you actually need information.
Right, and it works in so many situations. At a grocery store, you could ask, "Do you know where they keep the pasta sauce?" At a conference, you could ask, "Is this your first time attending this event?" At a gym, you could ask, "Excuse me, are you done with this equipment?"
These are all things I would actually need to ask anyway.
Exactly. And here's a little tip. After they answer your question, you can extend the conversation by adding a comment or another small question. So if someone tells you where the subway is, you could say, "Thanks so much. I'm new to this area, still figuring everything out."
Oh, and that gives them an opportunity to keep talking if they want to.
Yes, you're giving them an opening without being pushy. They might say, "Oh, where did you move from?" And suddenly, you've got a conversation going.
This is making so much sense now.
Good. Okay, strategy number 3 is the compliment approach. Now, this one requires a little bit of care because you want to make sure your compliment is genuine and appropriate.
What do you mean by appropriate?
Well, I mean, you want to compliment something non-personal or something they clearly put effort into. So, like complimenting someone's clothing, accessories, a book they're reading, or their dog is usually safe and friendly.
But not like complimenting their appearance in a way that might make them uncomfortable.
Exactly. There's a difference between saying, "I love your jacket," and making someone feel, uncomfortable with something too personal. The goal is to be friendly, not creepy.
Got it. So what would be some good examples?
Okay, so let's say someone has a really cool backpack with pins all over it. You could say, "Your backpack is awesome. I love all the pins. Where did you get them?" Or if someone's reading a book, you could say, "Oh, I've been wanting to read that. Is it good so far?"
Those feel really natural and friendly.
They are. And usually when you compliment someone on something they chose or care about, they light up and want to talk about it. Like if you compliment someone's dog, oh my goodness, they will talk to you forever about their dog.
That's so true. Dog owners love talking about their dogs.
They really do. And that's actually a great point. Finding common interests or things people are passionate about makes conversations so much easier.
What's the next strategy?
Okay, this one is simple but really effective. It's called the introduction and reason. This works especially well in settings where talking to new people is kind of expected, like networking events, classes, or group activities.
So you just introduce yourself.
Yeah, but you also give a little context for why you're there or what brings you to that place. For example, at a networking event, you might say, "Hi, I'm Sophie. This is my first time at this event. Have you been before?"
And that immediately gives the other person something to respond to.
Exactly. Or if you're in a cooking class, you could say, "Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm here because I literally can't cook to save my life. How about you?"
I like that one because it's a bit self-deprecating and funny.
Yes, and humor is actually a great tool for breaking the ice. When you can laugh at yourself a little bit, it makes you seem more approachable and relatable.
True. Nobody wants to talk to someone who seems too serious or perfect.
Right, we're all human. We all have flaws and awkward moments, and acknowledging that actually makes conversations easier.
Okay, so we've covered context comments, asking for help, compliments, and introducing yourself with a reason. What else?
Okay, the last strategy I want to share is something I call the observation question. This is where you make an observation about something and then turn it into a question.
How does that work?
Okay, so let's say you're at a farmer's market and you see someone buying a lot of tomatoes. You could say, "Wow, you're really stocking up on tomatoes. Are you making something special?"
Oh, so you're noticing something specific and then asking about it.
Yes, it shows you're paying attention and it gives them an easy question to answer. They might say, "Oh yeah, I'm making salsa for a party this weekend." And then you could say, "That sounds amazing. I've never made salsa from scratch before."
And the conversation just flows from there.
Exactly. The key with observation questions is to be genuinely curious. Don't ask just for the sake of asking. Actually be interested in their answer.
People can tell when you're being fake, right?
They definitely can. Authentic curiosity is so much more engaging than just going through the motions of small talk.
This is all really helpful, Sophie. But what about actually keeping the conversation going once you've started it?
Oh, great question. So once you've made your initial comment or question, the conversation should ideally go back and forth naturally, but sometimes you need to keep it moving.
Yeah, like when there's an awkward silence.
Right. So here's a simple formula. Listen to what they say, respond with a comment or relate it to your own experience, and then ask a follow-up question. It's like a little cycle.
Can you give me an example of that?
Sure. Let's say you ask someone about a book they're reading, and they say, "Oh, it's really good. It's a mystery novel set in Paris."
Okay.
So you could respond with something like, "I love mystery novels. I actually visited Paris a couple years ago. It's such a beautiful city. Have you been there?"
Oh, so you're relating it to yourself and then asking them another question.
Exactly. That keeps the conversation flowing naturally. You're not just asking question after question like an interview, and you're not just talking about yourself. It's a nice balance.
That makes sense. What if someone gives really short answers? Like you ask them something and they just say yes or no.
That can be tricky. Usually that's a sign that they either don't want to talk or they're just not great at conversations themselves. If you get a couple of short answers in a row, it's probably okay to just politely end the conversation.
How do you do that without being rude?
You can say something like, "Well, it was nice chatting with you," or "I'll let you get back to what you were doing. Enjoy your day."
Simple and polite.
Exactly. And here's an important thing to remember. Not every conversation with a stranger needs to be long or deep. Sometimes a nice, brief exchange is perfect.
Right. Quality over quantity.
In a way, yes. I mean, the goal isn't to make every stranger your new best friend. It's just to have pleasant, comfortable interactions that brighten both of your days a little bit.
I love that perspective.
And honestly, the more you practice these small interactions, the easier they become. It's like exercising a muscle. The first few times might feel a bit uncomfortable, but it gets more natural with practice.
So we should just go out there and try?
Yes, start small. Maybe just smile and say good morning to someone. Then work up to making a context comment. Then try asking a question. You don't have to jump into long conversations right away.
That feels less intimidating.
Good, because it really doesn't have to be intimidating. Most people are actually friendly and open to a little chat. We just psych ourselves out beforehand.
Okay, so now I want to hear some real examples, like actual conversations in different situations.
Perfect. Let's go through a few common scenarios where you might talk to strangers. I'll give you some sample conversations, and you can kind of imagine yourself in these situations.
Sounds good.
All right, scenario 1. You're waiting in line at a coffee shop, and it's taking a really long time. There's someone standing next to you, also waiting.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
So you could start with a context comment. You might say, "Wow, they're really busy today, huh? The line is so long."
And what might they say back?
They might say something like, "I know, right? I've been waiting for about 10 minutes already." And then you could respond with, "Same here, but their coffee is worth the wait. Do you have a usual order?"
Oh, and that's asking them a personal but simple question.
Exactly. And they might say, "Yeah, I always get the caramel latte. How about you?" And there you go. You've got a little conversation going about coffee.
That's not scary at all.
Not at all. And from there, the conversation might naturally end when one of you gets to order. And that's perfectly fine. You just had a nice, friendly exchange.
What's another scenario?
Okay, scenario 2, you're at the gym and you want to use a piece of equipment, but you're not sure if someone is using it.
This happens to me all the time.
Right? So this is a perfect opportunity to ask for information. You could say, "Excuse me, are you still using this?" And they'll either say yes or no.
And if they say no,
If they say no, you could say, "Thanks," and maybe add, "This machine is always so popular. It's hard to get a turn."
and that's another context comment.
Yes, and they might agree and say something like, "I know, I usually try to come earlier to avoid the crowd." And you could say, "That's a good idea. I might have to start doing that too."
See, these feel so natural when you break them down like this.
They really do. Okay, scenario 3. You're at a bookstore and you see someone looking at a book that you absolutely loved.
Ooh, I love talking about books.
Me too. So this is perfect for the compliment or observation approach. You could say, "Oh, that book is amazing. I read it last year and couldn't put it down."
And they'd probably be excited that someone else liked it.
Probably. They might say, "Really? I've heard good things about it. What did you like about it?" And then you can talk about the book a little bit. Maybe ask them what kind of books they usually like.
And just like that, you're having a conversation about something you both enjoy.
Exactly. Common interests make conversations so much easier. Okay, here's a slightly different scenario. You're at a party and you don't know many people there. You see someone standing alone, kind of looking around.
Oh, this is when I usually feel most awkward.
I know, parties can be tough. But here's the thing. That person standing alone is probably feeling just as awkward as you are, so you're actually doing them a favor by talking to them.
That's a good point.
So you could walk up with a friendly smile and say, "Hi, I'm Daniel. I don't think we've met yet." And they'll probably introduce themselves too. Then you could say, "How do you know the host?"
And that's a classic party question.
It is, and it usually leads to more conversation. They might say, "Oh, we work together," or "She's my sister," and you can follow up based on their answer.
What if the conversation starts to die down?
You can introduce another topic by asking things like, "So what do you do?" or "Are you from around here?" These are pretty standard but effective questions for getting to know someone at a social event.
Okay, I'm feeling more confident about parties now.
Good. Let's do one more scenario. You're on public transportation, maybe a train or bus, and someone sits next to you with a really interesting bag or wearing a cool shirt.
Okay, so I could use the compliment approach?
You could, but keep it brief and casual. You might say, "I love your bag. Where did you get it?" And they might tell you, and you could say something like, "That's awesome, thank you. I've been looking for something like that."
And then what? Do you keep talking or let it end there?
You can read the situation. If they seem chatty and engaged, you could ask another question, like, "Are you heading to work?" But if they give a short answer and go back to looking at their phone, that's okay. You made a nice comment and that's enough.
So it's important to read social cues.
It really is. And that's something that comes with practice. You start to notice when someone wants to chat and when they'd rather be left alone.
What are some signs that someone doesn't want to talk?
Good question. Some common signs are they're wearing headphones, they're looking at their phone or reading, they're giving very short answers without asking anything back, or they're avoiding eye contact.
So basically, if they're giving off a leave me alone vibe, respect that.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be left alone sometimes. We've all been there. The key is not to take it personally.
Right. It's not about you, it's just their preference in that moment.
Exactly. And here's something else I want to mention. Sometimes people are actually open to talking, but they're shy or nervous themselves. So if someone seems a bit hesitant at first, don't give up immediately. Give them a chance to warm up.
How do you tell the difference between shy and uninterested?
Shy people might make brief eye contact and smile, but not initiate conversation. They might give short answers at first, but gradually open up. Uninterested people usually won't make eye contact at all and will actively turn away or focus on something else.
That's helpful to know.
Yeah, and honestly, most people fall somewhere in the middle. They're not super outgoing, but they're not completely closed off either. They just need a friendly opening.
And that's what all these strategies and phrases are for.
Exactly. You're giving people a comfortable way to engage if they want to. All right, let me give you a few quick bonus tips before we wrap up this section.
Yes, give me all the tips.
Okay, first, smile. I know this sounds so simple, but a genuine smile makes you instantly more approachable. It signals that you're friendly and safe to talk to.
True. I'm much more likely to talk to someone who's smiling.
Right? Second tip, use the person's name if they tell you. People love hearing their own name, and it makes the conversation feel more personal.
Like, oh, that's a cool name, or nice to meet you, Sarah.
Exactly. And if you're bad with names, which honestly I am, you can use a little trick. Right when they tell you their name, repeat it back. Like, nice to meet you, Sarah. That helps it stick in your memory.
I'm gonna try that.
Third tip, be present. Put your phone away, make eye contact, and actually listen to what the person is saying. Don't just wait for your turn to talk.
That's so important. I hate when I'm talking to someone and they're clearly not listening.
Me too. And people can really tell when you're genuinely interested versus just being polite. Fourth tip, don't be afraid of a little silence. Not every second needs to be filled with words. A brief pause is totally normal and okay.
Oh, that's good to know because I always panic during silences.
I know, we all do, but sometimes a little silence gives both people a chance to think about what to say next. It's not automatically awkward unless you make it awkward.
Just breathe through it.
Exactly. And finally, last tip. End on a positive note. Whether the conversation was 2 minutes or 20 minutes, finish with something nice. Like, it was great talking to you, or thanks for the chat. Enjoy your day.
That leaves both people feeling good about the interaction.
Yes, and that's really the whole goal here, right? We want both people to walk away feeling a little bit happier than before.
I love that.
So, Daniel, after everything we've talked about today, how are you feeling about talking to strangers now?
Honestly, so much better. I feel like I have actual tools and phrases I can use instead of just panicking and saying nothing.
That's exactly what I was hoping for. And remember, the first few times might still feel a bit uncomfortable, and that's completely normal. But it gets easier every single time.
Practice makes perfect.
Well, practice makes progress. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be willing to try.
I'm ready to try.
That's the spirit. All right, everyone, let's quickly recap what we covered today. We talked about why talking to strangers feels awkward, and it's mostly because of our survival instincts, fear of judgment, not knowing what to say, and cultural factors.
Then we went through practical strategies like context comments, asking for help, giving compliments, introducing yourself, and making observations.
Right, and we covered how to keep conversations going with that listen, respond, ask cycle. We also talked about reading social cues and knowing when to gracefully end a conversation.
And then we went through real-life scenarios so people can actually imagine themselves using these techniques.
Exactly. We covered coffee shops, gyms, bookstores, parties, and public transportation. But honestly, these strategies work in almost any situation.
The key is just to be friendly, genuine, and not overthink it.
Yes, and remember, most people are actually nice and open to friendly conversation. We're all just humans trying to navigate the world, and a little kindness goes a long way.
So true.
All right, so here's your homework, if you want to call it that. This week, try talking to at least one stranger. It doesn't have to be a long conversation, just one small, friendly interaction.
Start small and build up from there.
Exactly. Maybe compliment someone's shoes, or ask someone how their day is going, or make a comment about the weather. Just try something.
And see how it feels.
Yes, and you know what? Come back and let us know how it went. Leave a comment down below telling us about your experience. We'd love to hear your stories.
Yeah, tell us if you used any of the phrases we suggested or if you came up with your own.
And if you found this episode helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We put out new episodes regularly, and we'd love to have you as part of our community.
And share this with a friend who also struggles with talking to strangers. We all know someone who needs to hear this.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I hope you feel more confident about striking up conversations with strangers now.
Remember, you've got this. It's really not as scary as it seems.
It's not. And every conversation is a chance to learn something new, meet someone interesting, or just brighten someone's day with a friendly exchange.
So get out there and start talking.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep speaking English.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.